Hello everyone. Thank you for being here. I promise I won't bore you with a long presentation. It'll be a short and sweet one. I'd like to have a lot of questions at the end if anyone has any doubts or queries regarding what we do and the general hyperlocal marketplace, business in general. So we start off with a slide. If I ask you in the audience, which do you think represents online and which do you think represents offline now? How many here would say that the giant guy there is online? Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So there are around 4, which is about, let's say, 2-3% of the entire gathering here. Say that the giant guy is offline, online. So the other guy, the small kid, is offline. Surprisingly, if you go out in the world, outside this room, because this is a rather knowledgeable crowd about the retail space, if you go outside, the impression is that this online is the huge guy, right? It's primarily because of the huge hype that's been built around online right now. But let's look at some hard numbers, okay? These are projections for 2015 and projections for 2020. 17% online, 83% offline, which will move to 36% online and 64% online. Any idea which segment is this? Which segment of retail is this? Anyone in the audience? Yes? Oh, electronics is too wide. Maybe slightly more specific? Okay, mobiles, tablets, and accessories, right? Now again, there is this impression that mobiles, tablets have completely moved online. Right? People say that it could be more than 50%, 60%, but that's the figure. These are marquee categories in the online space. Let's look at another category. 11% and 89%, moving to 36% and 64%. Any guesses? Which category is this? Yes? No. This is computers and IT, right? Again, supposedly another marquee category for online where people say that lots of laptops are being bought online, lots of other IT goods are being bought online. But still, there is a huge trend towards online, but these are still the numbers. That means there's a large chunk that is still offline today and will continue to be offline 5 years down, maybe 10 years down, and so on. Let's look at more offline defensible categories. Okay, 4% 2015, 12% 2020. Okay, any guesses? Any guesses which category is this? These are consumer electronics categories. Okay, consumer electronics is just 4% online today, just 4%. Another hugely defensible, offline defensible category is this 5%, moving to 14% in 2020. Any guesses? The last of the electronic categories. This is consumer durables, the large, which have huge logistic issues and so on. So at least these last two categories are what we consider offline defensible categories, where there's already a huge advantage that offline has, right? So now, if we show these numbers outside this room and ask people which is online and which is offline, a lot of people will change their opinion that this is offline currently and will continue. Not just in India. This is not just in India. We can see this in matured markets like the US, Europe, and so on, that despite the onslaught of online, offline still is a mainstay of the entire retail space. Right? Now let's look at something funny here. Right? This used to be the story about 10, 15, 20 years back when online used to be primarily for people-to-people connection. Right? It was about communication, it was about chatting, it was about messaging, email, and so on. At that time, you're not sure about the person who you're connecting to at the other end. It could turn out to be a cat, it could turn out to be an old guy masquerading as a young woman, and so on. Today, when online is primarily being used for products and services, we still are unsure about what is it at the other end, what is going to get delivered at home. you're not sure of the product. You're not sure about the person earlier, now you're not sure about the product. So there is a clear selling point to consumers as far as offline is concerned, right? Consumers actually have a very basic need for buying offline, which is that trust and that look and